Natalie?
Yeah?
Coronation Street, a community never far from controversy.
Certainly the most scandalous place in the north of England, I think.
You can't just buy and sell a kid.
For over 50 years, we've seen many of its residents bring disgrace to the cobbles.
You were a hooker!
They asked me how I felt about Leanne becoming a prostitute, and my jaw couldn't fall to the floor quick enough.
Over the next half hour, we'll revisit some of its most shocking storylines.
I'm not your mother.
And reveal the secrets hidden behind Weatherfield's closed doors.
There was a terrible stigma attached to young girls who fell pregnant.
Filthy little slut, me man called me.
As we tell the stories behind the stories.
She was only 16.
From 5 decades of the Corrie years. 2007, and the news of the world's royal editor is jailed over phone hacking.
Goodman had previously admitted accessing voicemail messages of members of the royal household on more than 400 occasions.
The secret diary of a call girl becomes a rating smash for ITV2. And the return of a Coronation Street favourite is about to bring more scandal to ITV.
Blimey, O'Reilly, look at this state of you.
When Leanne Battersby arrived back on the cobbles, it seemed she had become a successful property developer during her time away.
Have you seen these apartments in Eagle-Jaya? Development hasn't even started yet and I can't sell them quick enough.
You've landed well and truly on your feet, haven't you?
But as it turned out, she'd actually found another calling.
She decided to become an escort, and I thought an escort at the time was just somebody who charged somebody for the company. So somebody would take her out for dinner and she'd charge them 50 quid, and I thought, oh, how enterprising. And I remember doing an interview and they asked me how I felt about Leanne becoming a prostitute, and my jaw couldn't fall to the floor quick enough. I was really surprised. All statements and invoices will be billed as secretarial services.
Excellent.
It was almost like the clothes and the hair and the makeup turned her into something that she obviously wasn't, and I think that was the way she dealt with it.
But Leanne's game was up when stepmom Janice called in to see her at her place of work.
Leanne's told her that she's doing this big property exhibition.
I'm not aware of any property exhibition at the hotel today.
She's like so proud of her.
Oh, it's all right.
Don't bother. But then when it turns out what she's really doing, it's like she's been run over. Because even though it was about her going into the oldest profession in town, to me it was about their relationship.
You're a prostitute. Do you want to say it any louder? But I am right though, aren't I?
It still makes me cry when I watch it. Oh, because you can see their eyes. That's what does it for me.
I'm happy. I'm earning money, and I don't want you staying here causing a scene. Now, causing a scene? Do you think that I want everybody in here to know what you do?
In many ways, Janice Battersby's the worst role model in the world. But what was interesting about this story was we kind of turned things on their heads. There was Leanne, who'd sort of reached rock bottom, and there was Janice suddenly becoming the kind of moral beacon and the person who was going to try and help Leanne, if you like, out of the gutter.
Here's 400 quid. That should keep you going till you get a proper job.
John, I could make that in a night.
Good night.
The storyline became even more twisted when the Connor family got involved.
It all got a bit dark and a bit complicated because Leanne was seeing Liam, who was related to Paul Connor, who was married to Carla. Obviously, none of them knew about what was going on with Leanne. And then, of course, one day, Leanne got to her location, shall we say, her hotel, and it was revealed that it was Paul who'd booked to have some time with an escort.
You.
You.
It had serious repercussions for her.
Leanne's scandalous secret was eventually exposed, resulting in the loss of her relationship and her reputation.
Making out you were some hotshot career woman. You were a hooker!
It's a real turning point for her because she sat up and sort of said, what am I doing? This isn't me.
5, 6 years later, and she's much more respectable. She's still the same woman, essentially, but, you know, she's probably a better moral role model now.
1970, and Heathrow welcomes Britain's first jumbo jet. The importation of pets is banned after an outbreak of rabies in Suffolk.
The important thing is that we make absolutely certain that it doesn't become endemic in this country.
And the street's newest resident brings her emotional baggage to Weatherfield.
Shall I do?
Any time, darling.
Bet Lynch became a Coronation Street regular in 1970, but within just 4 months she was revealing a shocking secret.
I have had a baby. You are? A son.
When creating the character of Bet Lynch, the writers and producers needed to make her a tragic figure, which gave her some more depth, because up to that point she'd been quite frivolous.
I was 16. Just left school. I met this chap, a lot older than me. When it happened, he just cleared off. Oh, look, I'm sorry.
All the way through the 60s and into the 70s, there was a terrible stigma attached to young girls who fell pregnant.
Filthy little slut, my mum called me.
Comments like, what a slapper, scrubber, were quite normal, natural things to hear.
I had the baby adopted. I had to keep him for 6 weeks. And he was mine, Irma. Mine.
For Julie Goodyear, her first big storyline couldn't have been any closer to home.
I couldn't believe it when I read it, because I was in that position. Tony Warren gave birth to Coronation Street in 1960, and I gave birth to my son the same year. Adoption? I couldn't even bear to think about it. I didn't particularly fancy the shotgun wedding. That was the decision that was made for me. It didn't last very long. I knew exactly how she would have felt. But I had wonderful parents, so I was able to keep my son. But Bet couldn't.
Viewers didn't hear of Bet's son again until 4 years later, when he finally came looking for his mother.
Can you tell us where the Rovers Return is, please?
Yeah, it's on the other corner.
I like your motor.
Hey up, the army's here. Oh, I'll have the one on the left.
There were 2 Bets. There was Betty and Bet behind the bar.
Come on, you've had umpteen chances.
What do you want me to say? Excuse me, are you me mother?
Of course, he rather hoped it was Betty. Who wouldn't?
Right, that's it. I'm off.
And he left without telling her, and she never knew any different. Until another 6 months went by.
Bet's son's friend returned to the Rovers, but this time all he brought with him was bad news.
Do you remember there was a lad with me the last time I came in here? Well, he's dead now, and it was her son.
Oh, good God.
What had she got left after that?
Julie Goodyear gave one of the best performances of her career. She's completely devastated and she decides to kill herself. And it's Eddie Yates who saves her.
What do you want?
I just come round to talk to you.
I was so lucky in the fact that they gave me the fantastic Jeff Hughes who played Eddie Yates.
Look, I'm coming in.
He knew my situation. And we were such friends anyway.
He was the only thing I ever got from a fella. Good, innit? All the time he went from being a kick in the belly to a soldier. I went from nothing to nothing.
I remember me and my mum watching that at home go out. And the pair of us were in tears.
I'm a bit of stuff. I'm a cheap thrill now like I was then. Come on, Eddie. That's what you were after. You and Len. And a busload of others, if I could name them.
When I look back at those scenes, I feel immensely proud. I really do. And thank goodness, you know, that sort of stigma has completely gone.
Coming up, how Bet Lynch wasn't the only barmaid with a secret child.
I'm not your mother. Betty is.
and John Stape's extracurricular activities land him in serious trouble.
It's a terrible story of a guy who just loses everything, really. I'm going straight to hell.
...2007, and the Savoy closes for a £100 million refurbishment.
It still has the grandeur, but today it's very much of the faded variety.
Nick Clegg wins leadership of the Liberal Democrats. And over in Weatherfield, someone is about to make a terrible schoolboy error.
Come here.
Teacher John Stape found love when he got together with old flame Fizz Brown.
This is potentially a wonderful, beautiful relationship between him and Fizz, who clearly from the outset are two people who really love each other. And then you throw Rosie Webster into the mix and everything goes boom.
The fact that it was a 16-year-old schoolgirl, I thought, wow, this is quite, you know, a shocking subject to tackle.
What I say in my... I had a little bit of mail early on, being a bit critical and kind of going... The reality is that would never happen in the teaching profession. But as everybody knows, the reality is it does happen. Not saying that it's rife by any stretch of the imagination.
I can't stay for long.
It's only really for quite a short period of time in the relationship that he's enjoying the thrill of that, and he quite early on goes, I need to stop this, I need to get out of this.
Rosie, this is too mad.
I know. Don't you just love it?
He was the adult, he should have been in control. He was completely out of control all the way through. It was Rosie who called all the shots.
I want an A.
What? I was really worried what public reaction is going to be, but any abuse I would get would always be around, you make sure you look after Fizz. What are you doing? Don't you hurt her?
All right.
The other side of it being, everybody loves to hate Rosie Webster. So I think I got away with quite a lot of the grief because, you know, everybody just blamed her, which is terrible, really.
The shocking affair was exposed on Christmas Day when the hapless teacher got his gifts mixed up.
We'd kind of built it up so much to that point, and then it shattered through all these people in the show.
No. You? It's not from John, I swear it's not.
Kevin is livid and has the big old fight with John on the street.
You need to let me explain to you, all of you, it was just a mistake.
Bearing in mind we're filming this Christmas episode, you know, in November, it was freezing and cold, and I was down on those cobbles for about 2.5 hours.
I let you into our home. She was only 16. Look, you don't kill you.
On the surface, what John was doing with Rosie was utterly, utterly wrong. He had an inappropriate affair and an illegal affair with a pupil.
You don't have to end like this.
Happy Christmas, love.
But somehow, it was John you felt sorry for. It was like Rosie was the bad one. And of course she wasn't. Of course she was the victim.
You're not too upset though, are you?
It's 2010, and a cloud of volcanic ash from Iceland causes chaos across the country's airports. Clarence House announces the engagement of Prince William to Catherine Middleton.
The Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh are delighted with the news.
And on Coronation Street, escort Lewis Archer is about to reveal his true colours.
Corrie's been on my list of jobs I want to do for 50 years, probably.
Now, darling, you simply must meet Lewis.
I haven't played such a nice villain since I did a thing called The Charmer years ago. And I've always actually wanted to do The Charmer again in an updated way, so kind of this was my opportunity.
Charmed.
Oh, ditto.
He was a terribly scandalous character, and of course, you know, it sort of comes with Nigel Havers somehow.
Come on, then. Right.
Oh,
Let's have you.
He had a huge effect, Lewis, when he first arrived. There was that spot. They all thought, oh, how lovely he is.
Oh, my God, he's coming over.
I'm sorry to disturb you, ladies.
Hi.
Hello.
I did get the odd pair of knickers sent through the post, I'm afraid, yeah. Which one pair I'm wearing right now, actually. They are quite comfortable.
Lewis advertised himself in a high society magazine, and the ladies of Weatherfield weren't the only ones who saw his potential.
When I realised that it was Nigel Havers playing Lewis, who was up to no good, I thought, why don't we actually run the advertisement itself? A small flurry of inquiries came in after the magazine was published.
Hello, Lewis Archer.
They wanted to know why the telephone number wasn't working and how they could perhaps contact this character, Lewis, who was offering his services.
I have a feeling that you and I are going to get on like a house on fire.
But it was Lewis's genuine relationship with Audrey Roberts that really raised eyebrows on the street.
Well, I think you've topped that nicely, Mother, by asking a male prostitute to move in with you.
Yeah, go on. Everybody have a good go.
Audrey was a great character to partner up with Lewis. I think this is the first time since Alf that she's really been in love. But I think when the opportunity arises, he can't resist making a fast buck. I think he's trapped in that character.
What's this?
Alonissos.
Oh.
It's a tiny Greek island. I have to buy a little hotel.
But as the couple made plans for their future using Audrey's money, it soon transpired that Lewis was too good to be true.
I knew there was an end point to his contract, and Nigel Havers had been booked for 6 months. We kind of decided that actually what he'll do is rip the bookies off. And of course the best way to do that was through Deirdre.
And don't say you don't feel it too. I know you do.
Lewis, I
have to say that kissing Deirdre was a means to an end. I was just trying to get £4 out the back of the till. I'd never done an accumulator before, let alone won one.
Nearly £4,000.
Conman Lewis then left Weatherfield, leaving a trail of devastation behind.
Where's Lewis?
answers on a postcard. What's going on?
Your boyfriend's a crook. How's that for a kick-off?
The biggest scandal of Lewis Archer's saga, in my opinion, was breaking Audrey's heart.
You see? Is that winning fair and square?
Way up. Deirdre's here.
Will somebody just turn the damn thing off?
Which one is it?
Don't touch a thing.
At one point, he was actually going to steal all of Audrey's money and he was going to leave her destitute.
Gran, what about your money? The £100,000?
What? The money, my money.
We decided as a team that actually he should stop short of ripping off Audrey because he had genuine feelings for her.
The transaction was cancelled at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Which proved to be incredibly useful in terms of bringing him back.
He's learning to be more honest and more straightforward, but maybe that'll all change, you never know.
My lips are sealed.
That is my baby.
You stay away from me and my wife.
Over the years, the subject of parentage has caused many a scandal on Coronation Street.
Is who the real father is? Not Roy Cropper.
I'm your mum.
But one of the biggest shocks came in the mid-70s, when it was revealed that Bet Lynch wasn't the only barmaid with a skeleton in her closet.
You'd think probably they didn't have very much in common. Betty was very matronly, very mumsy, and Bet was the tart with the heart. But when it came down to it, they both had the same secret. Both had had a child out of wedlock.
God, Lord.
For years, viewers knew Gordon Clegg as the successful son of corner shop owner Maggie, and nephew of barmaid Betty Turpin.
Go on to Betty.
Hello, Gordon. Back again.
Back again.
But this was all about to change when the Hopkins family unearthed a lifelong secret.
Oh, look, there's something stuck in the joint of the wood here. Not ours.
They'd found a birth certificate at the back of a chest of drawers.
A boy, Gordon.
And it wasn't Maggie Clegg's name as the mother.
Father, unknown. Mother, Elizabeth Preston. What do you make of that, then?
The story was that Betty Turpin had had an affair with a married man during the war and had to give up the baby. Her sister, Maggie, who was married but had no children, said, "I'll bring the boy up."
The storyline came as a complete surprise to actors Irene Sutcliffe and Bill Kenwright, who played Maggie and Gordon.
I was shocked, really, really shocked, but not nearly as shocked as Irene, because she was not only shocked, she was angry.
Now they know who he is. Whose son he really is.
She felt it just undermined all the work she'd done in creating a believable mother-son relationship over the years.
In January 1975, Maggie broke the news in one of Coronation Street's most dramatic revelations.
You all right?
If I'm not mistaken, it was quite a moody little scene when she told me.
Sit down, Gordon, please.
That was quite emotional. I remember that. Absolutely. It was a moment. But I had no idea what a moment it would be to the viewers.
There's something I've got to tell you.
What is it?
It's not easy. I'm not your mother. Betty is.
It was a big scandal when it came out. Betty got letters, I got letters, Granada got letters.
You've heard, have you? Heard what, love? About Gordon Clegg? He's Betty Turpin's, not Maggie Clegg's.
Despite the gossip on the street, a special bond was then formed between Betty and Gordon, which also developed off-screen for Bill Kenwright and Betty Driver.
You know your problem, don't you? You're too soft. I think I take after you too.
We had the same kind of relationship that Gordon and she did on set.
Oh, what a nice thing to say.
So I'm soft. Thanks very much.
I'm getting emotional now. It was a whole new part of my life.
It is lovely seeing you.
It's not so bad seeing you again either, as a matter of fact.
And you know what? It wasn't because we spoke every week. It was just because we knew each other and we understood each other. She was a great, big, phenomenal spirit. She was a celebration on legs. It was an extraordinary event in my life, that storyline. I mean, you're proud of me, aren't you?
Of course I'm proud of you.
They played a crucial role in providing intelligence during World War II.